Well, thank you for staying with us. It appears the current governor of Adamawa State, Ahmadu Fintiri of the People's Democratic Party, will continue in his position for another 4 years as the Independent National Electoral Commission declared him winner of the governorship election in the state. This development comes 1 month after the official March the 18th governorship election that saw a lot of political intrigues before this declaration. In last Saturday's rerun, Mr. Fintiri polled 9,337 votes, while Senator Aishatu Binani Dahiru of the All Progressives Congress scored 6,513 votes. At the end of the final collation, Mr. Fintiri polled 430,861 votes to defeat Binani, who garnered 398,788 votes. And while the Federal High Court in Abuja has refused to entertain the ex-parte application brought before it by the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Senator Aishatu Dahiru Ahmadu, on the 2023 Adamawa governorship election result declaration controversy. Now, the ex-parte application filed by her lawyer, Mohammed Sharif, had asked the court to determine whether the Independent National Electoral Commission can take any further steps on the declared governorship election results made by its resident electoral commissioner, Hudu Ari. The judge subsequently told her counsel to file his address on the issue and fixed April the 26th for hearing of the ex-parte application and the motion on whether the court has jurisdiction. Defendants in the ex-parte application are INEC, PDP, and Ahmadu Fintiri. Well, joining us in the studio is lawyer Ini Behe Efyong. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Good to see you. Good morning.
All right.
Good to see you.
Welcome.
And joining us via Zoom from Adamawa State is a PDP chieftain in the state and a former Minister of Health, Dr. E.D. Hong. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Now, congratulations to your party. Eventually, INEC was able to resolve all the debacle, and your party emerged successful at the end of the day. The governor of the state has been re-elected. Talk to us about the intrigues that went on behind the scene, especially with what happened where Senator Binani was declared initially. What was the response of your party to that?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Right.
As far as we are concerned in the party, thank God our position was really hard. We took that it was just a criminal behavior. We never took it serious. We know it's an attempt by a very desperate people to usurp the mandate of the Adamawa people. And we have belief and confidence that INEC is a very responsible organization. INEC is a law-abiding organization, and they have laws that is guiding their work. And we believe that they will make sure that the right things are done. And thank God they really came very quickly and addressed the matter. And I'm also very happy to say that the position of INEC, especially on the behavior of their rec, Hudu, I think is very commendable, because that will go a long way in sending message to the umpires, electoral umpire staffs and other Nigerians that you cannot just take laws into your hand and get away with it. Hudu now will pay a very severe penalty for this misbehavior, for this criminal behavior, for the flaunting of the law of this country, even though he claimed to be a lawyer, and who I assume is supposed to have read the very small book of the Electoral Act and the guideline, even if he's not going to read anything. Maybe it wouldn't have taken him more than a day or two. And after even reading it or knowing it, and he went and become so overzealous like that, I think no Nigerian should sympathize with him, because what he has done was a treasonable offense. By today, if nothing has been done by INEC, I don't know the limit of the escalation of anarchy that will have happened in this country, not only to Adamawa, because he's trying to say that anybody can do anything and get away with it. That example that the INEC headquarters have tried to set with Hudu It's a very commendable thing. They have sent him to police inspector general to investigate matter and prosecute him on electoral offenses. And there are so many charges, I believe, that will follow suit on that. I think it's a very commendable effort. And for them to also ask the federal government to reconsider his appointment because he is not worthy of being an electoral officer that will get to the level of being a residential electoral commissioner. I think it's a very commendable decision of the chairman of the INEC and his commissioners, and we really say that I still have hope. Because the day that thing happened.
Dr. Hong, are you still there? Right, let's bring the conversation to the studio now while we wait for Dr. Hong to join us. You heard so many things he has raised. Talking about the fact that the Hudu Aridat, the returning officer, the resident electoral commissioner of the state, his decision to declare Binani could be seen as a criminal offense, and he's hoping that there will be more charges that will be raised against him. Help us understand this matter, the illegality, he usurping the powers of the returning officer of the state, and what kind of charges will be put forward against him.
Again, thank you for having me this morning. Election is a process, and that process commences through accreditation. When voters are accredited, they are issued with ballot papers, and they go to the voting cubicle and cast their votes. When the vote has been cast, it is then sorted. After it is sorted, it is then counted. When it is counted and then the scores accruable to each political party and candidate are ascertained, they will then be pronounced and recorded on the relevant INEC forms, the form EC8A. And then the next step of that process is for, of course, the transmission, the collation, and then it is then taken to the collation center. When the votes are collated, it then becomes the responsibility of the returning officer to announce the results in line with Section 25 of the Electoral Act 2022. Now, what we have witnessed in Adamawa State from the election of March 18th to the supplementary election of April 15th is one that really brings to fore the imperativeness of sticking very thoroughly to the processes on the line by law for a person to emerge as the governor of the state. Now, what the resident electoral commissioner did, at the risk of exaggeration, of being hyperbolic, can be described as treasonable. It appears quite treasonous that you would have a person who is the resident electoral commissioner, not some presiding officer or ad hoc staff, not a core member. This is someone who has been in the commission. Is the core staff of the commission. And why is that point important? It is important for us to know that this person understood precisely what he did and the consequences for it. Now, if you look at the law, Section 147 of the Electoral Act, INEC is an institution created by law. It is a juristic person. It acts through delegation. Section 147 of the Electoral Act says that the commission may delegate powers vested in it to such national commissioners, resident electoral commissioners, presiding officers, or other officers of the commission. Now, the responsibility for declaring a result or making a return is that is ascribable exclusively to the returning officers. In this case, in gubernatorial election, the state collation and returning officer, which is an office distinct, separable and distinguishable from that of the resident electoral commission. There is not a dual role. There is no confusion as to who has that responsibility.
Absolutely.
Now, for you to say you are pronouncing someone the winner of an election, the election would have had to be concluded, the processes that I have highlighted would have had to be finalized. The scores would have been ascertainable. But what did we see on national television? It was a tragic comedy, an embarrassment, a scandal to the entire country, that you would have someone of that status, someone of that age, of that pedigree in INEC, come out and to make it, to aggravate the situation, guarded, protected, supported by the Commissioner of Police and possibly other law enforcement officers, to say you are making a declaration of Senator Aishatu Binani as the winner of an election without stating this cause, without telling us the basis for your declaration. I did not even see him carrying any result sheets or collated documents, collation documents. The man just simply, it's as if it was a press conference. So we cannot tolerate that. Now, what is the consequence? What is the price to pay? Because we must make the point that the reason why the rake would go rogue, act in such a roguish manner, would be so emboldened to do that is because of the lack of policy of consequence. For him, nothing will happen because of the culture of impunity. If you look at the law, Section 120 of the Electoral Act, subsection 4, it is very unequivocal that any person who announces a result of an election, knowing same to be false or without legal basis, commits an offense. You know what the punishment is? Imprisonment for 36 months. And by Section 145 of the Electoral Act, the power of prosecution is domiciled in INEC. So I don't understand the part of the INEC resolution where they're asking the police to prosecute, except it is for a distinct offense, maybe under the Police Act or under the Penal Code. But by law, the prosecutorial power is domiciled in INEC. So I had expected, and I hope, that by now the legal department of INEC will be preparing charges to file against this individual. They don't have to wait for the police.
Right.
INEC can prosecute him, and he should be prosecuted. But furthermore, he didn't act alone. He was aided. He was abetted. So when the IG says he's redeploying the Commissioner of Police, what is that supposed to mean? Is that a punitive measure? That you are giving the CP a pat in the back? Oh, my CP, well done, but you embarrass us a little. That is what he's saying. No.
What were you expecting?
He should face orderly room trial. He should have been suspended by now. So I don't understand why the Inspector General of Police, at this time, given the gravity, this could have led to anarchy. People could have been killed on account of the gross recklessness, on account of the impunity of one individual. So this offense has to be seriously prosecuted. The other aspect that worries me, which is the point you mentioned earlier, is that quite painfully for me, members of my own profession are also complicit in this atrocious embarrassment. Of course, the right of access to court is there. But guess what? That you will have a learned senior advocate of Nigeria.
Yes.
Not a year one law student. Not a new week, as you know, some young lawyers are famously called. Not a fake lawyer.
A senior advocate.
Not a clerk of court. Not someone that sells sachet water in the premises of the court. A learned senior advocate of Nigeria would hurry to the Federal High Court in Abuja. I say, my lord, that INEC has taken an administrative decision. We are bringing an application, ex parte, for leave for the prerogative writ of certiorari and prohibition. Please restrain INEC from further taking decisions regarding matters of declaration of results in Adamawa. Guess what? I read through the entire affidavit in support of the application. I read through the written address. I read through the motion itself. I read through the statement in support of the application. Nowhere in the entirety of the affidavit have Binani or lawyers disclosed the votes scored by Binani.
Yeah.
Not one document is exhibited in the affidavit to show that there was a declaration that was made, to show that Binani had even been declared properly. Not one document is exhibited. How can we tolerate that as a country? In the United States, 17 lawyers were sanctioned for filing frivolous lawsuits challenging Trump's defeat at the election, including Rudy Giuliani, the former mayor of New York. 17 lawyers. So my own profession, the Nigerian Bar Association, the legal profession, must also take responsibility for the continued abuse of the legal process. Because except lawyers are punished, and I'm sorry to say, it's not young lawyers like me that file these cases.
Of course.
No. It is those who are supposed to be our mentors and leaders. So I am particularly pained that despite decisions of court, as recent as this 2013, in the case of INEC and Julde, where the Court of Appeal has said that the process of judicial review, the prerogative writs that they are seeking, are not grantable because this is an election matter. And despite that Section 285 of the Constitution is clear that every post-election dispute can only be litigated at the tribunal. What is the basis for going to court? To truncate an electoral process? So I feel that these are multifaceted areas. There are different issues that has to be tackled. The aspect of the criminality of the wreck that must be prosecuted diligently.
Yeah.
That of the infraction of the Commissioner of Police, who I am convinced, if Nigeria is a serious country, the Police Service Commission must sanction, and it should even be prosecuted.
Okay. We will come back to what the police could have done in a situation like that. But let's go to Dr. Hong, who is still with us online. Now, Dr. Hong, the point there is, can you share with us, in this election, we saw the numbers. The margin between the two leading candidates was not as much. It tells that it was a hard-fought election. But speak to us, what were some of the issues that shaped the way that people voted at this governorship election in Adamawa State?
Thank you very much. I think the margin is big enough because elections have been declared in this 2023 election, gubernatorial, with a range of 5,000 margin, 10,000 margin, 12,000 margin. In Adamawa, we had a margin of 31,249 votes from the March 18th election. Because we were PDP states winning in PDP, defeating an APC state, the INEC refused to declare us, they declared the election inconclusive. While in some places, they declared the election with 10,000, 12,000, with a council vote of more than 30,000. That is why the day before when I had an interview, I said maybe there are two laws in this country. Well, now the difference is about 34,000, 35,000 after the supplementary election. That is good enough, but one cannot be able to say exactly what is the dimension electorates and voters take the decisions before they voted, along which line they have voted. Generally speaking, she has her own strength, she has her area of influence, she has her goodwill, she has families, she has relations, she has supporters. So this could have counted to her vote. Fintiri also have his own area of strength. He has his supporters and his good work and the trust and the hard work he has put in Adamawa. No governor in the history of Gongola to Adamawa have done half of what Governor Fintiri have done. I think that has really endeared him to the electorate in Adamawa. Truly speaking, I have every reason to say that Binani have done very well, because at the inception of this election, I never knew she could pull this type of strength. I never knew. She has tried very well and highly commendable, except for the criminal behavior she came and portrayed so disgustingly. Ever another angle that the Lana lawyer should also take is that the effrontery of an author of a law going to trample on the same law. She has appended her signature.
But
right.
Dr. Hong,
Yeah,
again...
it seems we're losing the signal from there again.
Yes, right. Now he was talking about Senator Binani, her response. You know, she went to read her acceptance speech.
In quote.
In quote.
In quote.
Exactly.
Because-
Acceptance
What was she
speech.
accepting?
Exactly.
What was she accepting?
What was
I
not
believe-
given to her?
Is it a child naming ceremony? Is it marriage anniversary? This is a serious matter.
Yeah.
She is a senator of the Federal Republic. This is not some political neophyte.
All right, we hear that Dr. Hong is back on
Okay.
the line. Dr. Hong, you can go ahead with your line of thoughts.
I was saying another very dangerous dimension is the effrontery of leaders in this country. Binani is a senator of the Federal Republic. She was part of the Senate that authored the Electoral Act 2022. She knew these laws. She knew what is inside, and she came and was manufacturing fake results and declaring herself even before time, sending false information outside, recruiting undelegated people to declare her falsely. She's trampling on the law she has given this country. So they will make laws for us commoners, and she will be ruled by another law. I think the National Assembly have to redeem themselves also to sanction their erring members who has participated in one way or the other toward doing this democratic coup that they wanted to do. Because this is a country that is supposed to be run by law, and the Electoral Act, which Binani was part of the authors, and she went and flouted it and trampled on it. I think her sanction should be more also.
Right. We'll bring that conversation to the studio. Inimbehe, you were trying to react to what he has pointed out now, talking about Binani, who he said was part of those who, put together this Electoral Act. And she, knowing the law, still went ahead to declare her acceptance speech, so to speak, and still take the matter to court and all of it. He is saying this is also a criminal matter that has to be looked into.
Look, my recommendation this morning is that the Nollywood industry should send an invitation to her. Mr. Ibu should be very delighted. Some locals will be smiling in his grave. That you will have, it is a serious matter. You will have a senator. I watched the woman. And I was, what is happening? You are coming out? The other aspect I also want to address is the media, because I have indicted my profession. How come NBC has not sanctioned? This was 8 Live. So media organizations who even covered that report, they must tell us whether they were misled. This could have led to bloodshed. Why will a senator come out in the public and say, acceptance of what? Was the car donated to you? What were you accepting? The office of governor is not a joke. So we need to investigate her role. She cannot say she does not know what it takes for a declaration to be made. As far as I'm concerned, charges should be filed against her. And why is this important? This attempt or democratic experiment must not be truncated. There is a process. When elections are held and concluded, you are aggrieved, go to the court. That is what they always tell us. Go to court, go to court. If you are not satisfied, activate the judicial process properly.
Yeah.
Section 285. You have 21 days from the date of declaration properly so called, to file a petition. So for her to have come out, and I heard her even invoking the name of the president in the acceptance speech. I don't know what she was accepting. That she was thanking the president. Which president was she thanking? For what exactly? So this is an embarrassment to the country. The international community will be laughing at us. That these are not serious people. But that is why we must ensure that this perception is corrected. Binani's role should not be seen as just an act of political rascality. The criminal dimension to it should be thoroughly investigated. And that is why I am calling on INEC to invoke their powers. Why are they writing to the IG? Except for certain persons or certain aspects of infraction that are outside the Electoral Act. But as far as the infraction of Section 120 of the Electoral Act is concerned, Section 145 says it is INEC that prosecutes. Let INEC file charges against these people. Because except this is done, except people go to prison, are incarcerated and punished, this will be repeated. Okay. Adamawa does not deserve this. Nigeria does not deserve this. That's in 2023. With all the efforts that the National Assembly made, including Senator Binani, to enact the Electoral Act, you will have people gather, write a script, and want to usurp the role of Nollywood. We must not indulge that.
Right. Right. Because of time, we have just less than 2 minutes to wrap up. Quickly, Dr. Hong, your final thoughts on this matter.
Thank you very much. I think first and foremost, we want to say we thank the chairman of INEC and also the commissioners for being proactive, for rescuing democracy, and also for rescuing Adamawa State. I will not imagine what will have happened in Adamawa with that rascality. And I want to also, just like the learned lawyer was saying, I totally associate myself with his submission. The other agencies of government who there went and supported Hudu should also be thoroughly investigated and be punished. And the same thing with Senator Binani being a lawmaker, trampling on the same law, she append her signature on it. I think it's a very pathetic situation, and the National Assembly as a whole has to even suspend her from the National Assembly in the first instance before the investigation of the whole matter. I think if they want to rescue themselves and have a honorable position in the country, the National Assembly have to start cleansing itself from characters like that. That is my submission, and we thank the Adamawa people and Nigerians for being very proactive in salvaging the country so that we will not descend into anarchy. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Right.
Well, as we wrap up, just in 1 minute, what could the CP who was there, what could they have done? The security agents who were there when the illegal announcement was being made?
They had a duty to prevent it.
Okay.
The responsibility of the police under the Police Act of 2020 is also prevention of crime. Dictation, that's if they could not detect. What is the failure of intelligence? Can you convince me that the State Security Service was not present there? Or that they were not involved in the electoral process? That they had no information that this was going to happen?
Well, there are those who have argued that theirs is just to maintain the peace and they have nothing to do with the
But they
whole
did not maintain
process.
the peace. They have a role. It is like saying that at the polling unit, if political thugs are coming to hijack materials, the policemen should be clapping and be smiling. No! This is the Commissioner of Police of the state. He went with him. He accompanied him. He knows who has the power to make declaration. And at the time this fake, dubious announcement was made, collation has not been concluded. The CP knows. How come that he aided that kind of act? I am strongly deprecating the Inspector General of Police and calling on him that salvage the image of the police. You cannot say you are redeploying him to another state to go and do what? Send him to the orderly room trial. Send him to the Police Service Commission. He should be suspended. He should be prosecuted. This is a matter of grave national security. People who have not even done 10% of what was done in Adamawa, they are standing trial for treason.
All right.
They are standing trial for terrorism.
That's a fine place to leave the conversation. Lawyer Inibehe F. Young, as well as Dr. Edie Hong, former Minister of Health and PDP chieftain in Adamawa. Gentlemen, thank you for your time on the program.
Thank you very much. Thank you.